So the first block we'll be making in this sew along is this one here, block 1, and this forms the centre block of our quilt. To make block 1 you will need some Quilters grid interfacing from Vlieseline that looks like this. You've got brown lines on one side and a slightly rough adhesive side on the other. So you'll need a 22-inch square cut out of that. You will also need your colour 1. You need to cut 2 3/4 inch squares from that, and you will need to cut 48. So 48 2 3/4 squares. Colour 2, which is like a very dark blue, you will need to cut 4 lots of 2 3/4 squares. And colour 3, a medium blue, you will need 12 lots of 2 3/4 inch squares. So all the squares are the same sizes, it's just different amounts you need. Once that's all cut, we'll get ready and sew it together. Okay, so we've got everything cut out. We've got our colour 1, colour 2 and colour 3, 2 3/4 inch squares cut out. We have our Quilters grid cut out, and we want it so that the lined side is down and the interfacing slightly rough side is facing up. Next we're going to arrange our squares onto the grid, but because this is such a large block we're going to do it in 3 rows at a time. So we're going to arrange 3 rows, then we're going to press it, then we'll do the next one, and then the last one will just be 2 rows. This is because it's quite big and you won't fit it all on your ironing board. So let's get arranging. First, what you want to do is take one of your background squares and line it up in a top corner. So you want to make sure that the top of this cut square is aligned with the Quilters grid along there and there. And we'll use this as our corner square, so to speak. And this first row just needs 8 of the colour 1 squares all along. Making sure that it keeps in line with that Quilters grid square at the top, and they are pushed up just next to each other, not overlapping and not leaving a gap. For the next row, we just want to line this one up along this side here, making sure that it's in line with those squares. Then we want 2 of those. Then we want 1 colour 3. Four more of these. Oh no, 2 more of these. One of those. And 2 more colour 1s on the end. And then the last row we're going to do before pressing, we're going to have a colour 1, 2 colour 3s, and we're ready to press. A top tip would be to arrange this already on your pressing mat or your ironing board so that you don't have to move it and you can just press straight away. When you press them, they don't have to be completely stuck down, never going to move again. We just want to make sure that they do stay put. Don't get your iron on this quilter's grid part, so just stay within the fabrics. But don't worry too much about going too close to the edge. It's more important that you don't get any of this sticky substance on your iron, but you can make sure that you get it all stuck down for now. So that has been stuck down now and is attached. So we can go on to the next row. And again, just making sure it lines up with this line going down the side and your rows above. We need 3 colour ones. And then we're going to have 2 of these colour 2s. And 3 more of the colour 1s. And it's the same for the row down as well, the next row along. And then 1 colour 1, 2 colour 3s, 2 colour 2s, 2 more colour 3s, and another colour 1. And then we can give that set a press. Okay, we've done that. That's all pressed. We just need to do the last 2 rows now. So we need colour 1, again lining up with this line down here. Colour 1, colour 3, colour 1, colour 1, colour 3, and then 2 lots of colour 1. And then the last row, like the top row, is just 8 colour 1s. And then, just as we've done before, we're going to take that over and give that a press. Now all our squares have been attached to the quilter's grid, it's time to sew. So we have 7 vertical seams that we are going to sew first. So we're going to start on this end and we're just going to fold it naturally where that first row or column of squares folds. Okay, so that seam here, fold it in half. Now you don't have to use any clips or pins or anything. We're just going to take this to the sewing machine and sew down here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I've sewn along here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and when I fold it open, this is what it will look like. We then need to do the same thing for all the other rows. So just do the next one along, which is this one. It should fold quite naturally where the end of the squares are, and we'll sew along there with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and do the same until all of your vertical seam lines have been sewn together. So once all of those rows are sewn, it's going to look like this. So you've got seams going down, but you've still got the raw edges exposed along the horizontal way. Before we sew that, we're just going to snip at each of the cut edges. So where you can see the raw edge of your cut pieces finishes, we're going to just snip there as close to the seam line as you can. And we're going to go along and do that. So you can see there's the raw edge of our cut piece of fabric. We're just going to snip there. And we're going to do that for all the other rows as well, in line with the raw edges of the fabric. When you have snipped all those intersections, it's time to sew our seams in the opposite direction. So just as you did before, where the raw edges meet, you can fold that. And now you will have something that looks like this. And what you want to do is nest each of those seams so that one goes up and one goes down. So you sew along this edge here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and make sure you nest those seams so that one goes up and one goes down. Once that seam is sewn, it will look like this from one side, and then if you turn it over, you can see that it's joined and the seams are going in opposite directions. Then we just need to continue that and finish all of these seams in the same way. So just fold it together, lay it nice and flat, take it to your sewing machine, sew down there with a 1/4 inch and make sure to nest these seams so that one goes up and one goes down. And when it's all sewn together, this is what the first block should look like. You've got all the squares sewn together, and as you can see, you've got lovely pointy points. This is the front, and this is what it looks like at the back with all the seams nested. And that is block 1. Once it's all trimmed down, this is what it will look like, and you only need to make one of these blocks.